Good evening, everyone. It's the wise one here, Mr. Solace Usier. All praises to the horizon, peace, wealth, and wisdom. This evening, I want to do this video explaining the knowledge of the I Am. Most of you guys should be familiar with that phrase from the Bible verse when Moses was discussing with God the things he should say to Pharaoh in regards to getting his people freed. And so he asked God, who should I say sent me? And of course, according to the biblical text, it says that God said, I am. And so I want to do this video explaining or giving you guys the understanding of that phrase and what it meant in that biblical text, as well as in regards to all of our lives. Now, first I want to say this. We are all familiar with the AM, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., the AM. And so, of course, the AM is morning. And this is when the sun rises from that dark void, our beginnings. Of course, I'm assuming everyone knows that life starts from the inactive, voided consciousness, emerging into, activity, active conscious. We all experience this every day when we wake up from sleep, as well as falling to it. I apologize. Let me fix my phone sound. And so, as I said, we all experience this every day when we fall into sleep, our unconsciousness, inactivity. We wake up from it. And so, as I said, the AM, which is morning, is when the sun rises from that dark, voided beginning. So everything is kind of repeated throughout the whole life, meaning whatever was in the beginning so still is. You can see it all within the life daily. Now, my point of bringing up the AM, which is morning, the sun rising from that dark voided beginnings, is because the AM is in reference to Amun, the ancient Egyptian deity that most of you, I would assume, know. This being Amun, the creator deity, according to ancient Egyptian texts. Now, of course, ancient Egypt, this is antiquity, meaning their texts are speaking of antiquity. When I say antiquity, I'm speaking the beginning of worlds. And so, of course, we know the beginnings start from that dark voided stage. If you're speaking ancient Egypt, none, which is your inactivity. Nun he kek to Amun. Amun being your first sign or stages of physical life manifesting from that dark void or wholeness. Now, when you're dealing with Amun, Amun is pronounced Am. No different than in the Far East with OM, which is Am. And so this is sound, or the first stages of physical life manifesting forth, aspect as well as physically. So sunrise becomes its own individual thing. In the individual manifestation, everything starts to become individual. Night separated from day. Because of that, you got horizon, separating them both. And you get it? You start to get many aspects of the life manifesting forth, becoming their own individual. Whether aspect or a physical thing. And so it's a very deep thing I want you guys to grasp. When you're dealing with Amun, the reason they call him your creator God, because he is like inactivity going to sound, inactive thought, or thought being inactive, then becoming active. This is your he. None inactivity. He, he's next. This is your active consciousness. And so when you're reading in that Bible verse where Moses is asking God, what should I tell Pharaoh in regards to who sent me? And God is telling him the am I, or the I am. It's to say the individual coming forth from that wholeness. Meaning, God is whole. That dark voided beginnings that manifest into substance. That substance still being whole because we all have it. A woman's beginnings start with it, meaning start as substance. So is the same with a man, that being that substance. Semen. And so that is still whole in perspective, meaning semen is not separated from any other semen. Do you grasp? But once it becomes mingled in with the blood, so then you get the individual. And so it's kind of a simple thing that's being explained. To say like the I am is to say, the individual who's reached a specific level of conscious, a specific level of understanding, where they understand all is God manifested individual. But like I said, God is whole, unvoided, inactive consciousness, manifesting forth into the opposites of itself in totality, meaning inactiveness turning active, that inactive conscious being active, that unseen being seen, that wholeness being individual. Every aspect of the manifesting is becoming individual. And so that phrase in the Bible is explaining how, all starts from that voided whole beginnings, becoming individual, but never truly accomplishing complete individuality. Or being, God manifested. See, we think to get God consciousness or to become enlightened or to become religious or, we view all these things of wisdom to be, coming into our God self. Meaning if you're deep into your religious studies, so you kind of look at yourself and say, I'm tapping more into my godly self. You may be, more modern and you believe more in spirituality, and so you pull for the different things that we have in today's times. Your meditation groups, your yoga groups. I apologize. Your yoga groups. You have many different renditions of spiritual practices where there's no God that's being worshipped, but more or less, all coming together spiritually, understanding, how energy works together, so to say. Energy that we all are. And so, my point of saying that is, these are the things we associate with one coming into their God self, so to say. But this is inaccurate. To become completely washed of influence, to become a complete individual, this is to